Thanks everyone for joining us today. This is the first of our Foundry community hangout sessions. We do these every Friday, and people typically come and kind of show and tell what they've been working on during the week. Yeah, we kind of chat about interesting things that are coming up for different groups of people in the ecosystem. So sometimes there'll be like an initiative that's happening. I think last time there was a big push around atomic NFTs. Yeah, and that was something that we all got together to discuss. And we have these Friday sessions where we have a big conversation as an ecosystem. So the format is generally that people come up and they kind of demonstrate what they've been working on, and then we'll have a conversation afterwards in the do we call it coffee and mingle area now? I forget. But outside, if you just leave the main auditorium, you'll see lots of people milling around, go chat, meet each other, and see what everyone's building. But today we've got a kind of extra special lineup, I would say, because we've got 3 founders from the ecosystem that are already built profit-sharing communities before, and all of them have raised pretty significant capital at this point and are pursuing this like full-time and have built teams around them, and they're making incredible progress. So yeah, we're very happy to and very excited to have them here, and afterwards we'll be doing a kind of like a fireside chat where we'll be talking about the process of what it's like to actually build a profit-sharing community, lessons learned, things we wish we knew, at the beginning from each of the founders, and all the rest of it. And then afterwards, we'll be having a kind of typical coffee and mingle session. All right, so without further ado, yeah, Phil, could you please join us on stage and tell people about ArDrive?
Hey, thank you, Sam. Let me share my screen. I did prepare a few slides that I'll just kind of whip through here. Always appreciate the opportunity to speak about ArDrive, but I wanted to maybe just share kind of some information around our apps, our community, and some of the technology that we're using, titled Going 0 to 60 with ArDrive. My name is Phil Mataras, the founder of the ArDrive community. I used to be a systems architect at a big company. I'm a node operator and love to mine different cryptocurrencies, and I've been an Arweaver since way back. Possibly one of my favorite communities really I've ever been to. And here really I'm representing the ArDrive community and our ever-expanding team, the core drivers. They're really the engine behind everything that our community is doing, and I wouldn't be here today really without the continual hard work of everybody. And it's just great to see how big the team is getting. But why do we even have this community around the technology we're building? Really, what's our purpose? And it's simple. It's to support, learn, and inspire one another to build and enhance the awareness of our mission, right? That's like our community's purpose. But what's our mission? Well, that's just as simple. We want to get permanent storage in the hands of everyone. There's over 2 billion people in the world using those kind of cloud Dropbox-like services, and we think many of them have some data that they would want to store forever. So to do that, we've been working on some cross-platform file sync apps built using Arweave's immutable and decentralized storage. We're really focusing on an intuitive user interface. Your files can be either completely private, where you are the only ones who have access to them, or they could be public globally around the world, right? It's very fast and easy to share both public and private files. You're only paying for what you store, right? It's always free to read, no subscriptions, and it's owned by the community. You can see here that we've had some growth over the past few months, and I love sharing some of the stats around that, especially when it comes to data uploaded. We just crossed our 2 terabyte mark, which is awesome to see. I think we hit the 2nd terabyte much faster than the first. And the other interesting thing is that we've gotten over 2,000 ARN fees to the network and to our community. The revenue model for the community is very straightforward. We apply our community tip to all data uploaded to our platforms and apps. And those tips go to our community token holders, right? So we do have a profit sharing community built on Arweave as well. And that token doesn't just let users share the in-app revenue, but you can stake them to participate in any of the community governance, finance, voting around what's happening with our apps. And we're always looking for new ways to expand the utility of that token, whether it's staking it to earn other settings or achievements, or maybe spending the token on specific kinds of features. The community, luckily, has been pretty successful the past few months. I have some accomplishments just to mention. right? We finished our seed round. That was tremendous in kind of the history of ArDrive. Really unlocked the team expansion and some of the growth that we've done the past couple months. We just announced our Connect integration. We finally got a couple really great payment providers to offer fiat on-ramp for Arweave. We worked with the charity team and made a donation there, and are looking to really kind of spur the using profit-sharing communities in the scope of charities. We also just released our public knowledge base. I mentioned we hit that 2 terabyte mark, which is really great to see. And we just started testing our new native mobile app. So that's something else that we're looking at releasing soon. And there's still tons that we have to do. Maybe let's switch gears and just talk a little bit to the developers, a little bit more technically inclined in the audience. And I just want to talk about kind of the protocol behind ArDrive, called the Arweave file system, or ARFS. And the goal for ARFS is really to create this open PermaWeb. And to do that, we created this append-only transaction data model, which really allows a file system to be created on Arweave. So with that, you can have these kinds of files, and you can have different versioning, renaming, moving, custom metadata, all those things you would expect, like a local hard drive. There's a defined encryption process that supports the end-to-end privacy that ArDrive offers. And then all the data that's put into the Arweave file system standard can be queried by any application that's using Arweave GraphQL. And that data model is very flexible. It uses different, what we call entities, to reflect that file system state. Those entities, like a drive, folder, or file, have their own defined schema, and each one has its own unique UUID. And what we do is we split that metadata between GraphQL tags and an encoded JSON file. So that JSON metadata can be encrypted when needed, and it can be vastly expanded when needed as well. Files themselves require a single transaction for data and another one for the metadata, and that's how we can really separate both, so you can continually update the metadata without having to change the original file. Our ArDrive core library does offer Arweave file system and some of the benefits that you can maybe use to unlock some capabilities in your next project. So of course, it gives easy access to methods for using the Arweave file system, upload, download, query, etc. All the components in there are kind of battle tested in the ArDrive apps. Gives you that privacy that's kind of not available with the the default Arweave JS. And then once the files are tagged, you can view, organize, and share all of that data through the ArDrive apps. So you'll always benefit from any updates or other things that we include going down the line. Offer everyone the ability to read more, check out our knowledge base, check out our GitHub. You can always reach out to me or anyone on the team, and we would love to learn about your use case and really see how ArDrive and Arweave file system can help you out. Yeah, so thank you, everyone, and hope you enjoyed this little 0 to 60, and yeah, love to speak with you after.
Amazing, thank you, Phil. Yeah, I think the RFS, or I'm not sure, are we calling it ARFS?
That's my nickname for it,
Yeah, okay. I think the ARFS is a huge deal for lots of developers in the ecosystem, because really, it was one of those components that it wasn't clear we needed until we had it, and then it was like, oh wow, that's just like a 10x developer improvement now. And it makes sense. Like Arweave is a hard drive, right? But you don't try and write sectors to your hard drive. No, you have a file system that's in the way that sort of abstracts away a bunch of the complexity, allows you to, in the case of like ARFS, do updatable files and this kind of thing, where you, of course, because it's on Arweave, you get like the existing log of it over time, but you can update where that's pointing to. It's super powerful. I'm very excited to see where people take this. And yeah, I think it's like there's so many interesting applications that can be built on the fact that this is probably the most secure file storage application in the world, because you can it essentially has the same security model as MetaMask, but very soon you're going to be able to use a ledger with it. So now you'll be able to store your files and have them secured by a physical hardware security module, which is just like unbelievable levels of security that you absolutely couldn't get in Web 2 world. So yeah, anyway, congratulations on all the progress, Phil. This is really just awesome to see. All right, so Tate, could you take us through a little about Verto, perhaps?
Hey everybody. Sorry, I had to get to the podium. Yes, happy to take you through Verto. Let me just share my screen really quick. Cool.
We see
can
it.
everyone? All right, perfect. Yep. So this is. Oh, I just lost it myself. All right, this is Verto, which is a decentralized exchange built on Arweave. And so for some context here, my name is Tate Berenbaum. I'm one of the founders of Verto, and also this is a slightly modified version of our previous pitch deck that I've kind of, used in other talks. So yeah, so the whole value proposition behind what we're doing is, before Verto came along, there was no way for anyone to exchange profit sharing tokens or any type of quantifiable value inside of the Arweave ecosystem. And so as an early ecosystem adopter, it was it was kind of a roadblock to being able to build things. So this is kind of what led us, our team, to go on to create Verto, which you can find at verto.exchange. And we are a decentralized protocol that allows anyone to trade any type of token, be it a profit sharing community, profit sharing token, regular fungible token, or now non-fungible tokens inside of the Arweave ecosystem. So you can kind of monitor all of your balances and all of your tokens and assets on the verto.exchange dashboard, in addition to watching the price of assets increase or decrease, something similar to a traditional trading interface. Although I will say that this is the current interface, but our team, Martin and John in particular, have been working very hard over the past few months to massively overhaul this entire design. So this is the verto.exchange UI right now, but in less than a month, you'll be seeing a completely new version. It's much more friendly, it's much simpler to use, but yeah, just important to keep in mind. This is Verto as it stands. So you can also track your transactions here as well. You can, of course, trade, and I would view the trade page, but it's just easier to do it on the presentation here. So you can trade between profit sharing tokens and R, and we also have an Ethereum bridge, which allows you to go from Ethereum to R natively through the Trading Post protocol. And so the Trading Post protocol, the way that, well, I should say that's how Verto works. Verto is powered by a network of trading posts, which you can think of as like servers that sit online with the sole purpose of handling any incoming orders on the protocol. So the Trading Post code base is completely open source, and anyone can, go and spin up their own trading post and effectively be able to earn fees by handling trades on the network over time. So you can also discover all of the new tokens and all of the tokens in general that are being minted and traded on the protocol. Our new user interface, I'm super excited about it, and I'll show a leak screenshot. It's a little bit blurred in a second, but we'll be completely overhauling this as well, because with the addition of atomic assets to Arweave, a lot of people have been minting tokens that have data attached to those tokens, like images or videos. And so, of course, on the exchange, people need to be able to view that. So you'll be able to see that soon as well. But this is what the Discover page looks like right now. And so the Trading Post network is held accountable with the Verto token. So if a trading post were to act maliciously, the Verto network can vote to slash the stake of that trading post, which of course is a massive disincentive to acting maliciously on the protocol. And the Verto token is also a profit sharing token, meaning token holders can earn a volume weighted index of all of the tokens that are being traded on the protocol over time, which is pretty exciting. So let's see. And this is kind of a little sneak peek of our new user interface. You'll be able to see some more leaks on our Twitter coming up shortly. But we'll be showing a gallery page essentially that displays all of the communities and atomic assets. And it'll also be composable enough to be able to automatically support any types of assets you're building. So if you're working on something that is not, built, like it has never been done before inside of Arweave, like let's say, for example, you're working on CryptoKitties inside of Arweave or something, we'll be able to give you the tooling that you need to add rich data and customize the information that is displayed to users about those types of assets on Verto.exchange natively. It's kind of going to be a cross between an OpenSea and a Uniswap. So yeah, that's a little bit of information there. But yeah, thank you so much. You can get in touch with me on Discord or email, and also you can join our Verto Discord if you're interested in learning more or potentially chatting further. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Tate. Yeah, and I'm fortunate enough to have seen a little bit more than the very blurry screenshot there, and it looks absolutely incredible. It's very, very cool. I'm really excited to see it get out into the world. And what you guys have been doing with on the composability front is actually, I think, not just something that wasn't possible in Arweave before. It's actually not possible anywhere on the in the crypto space. Is really, really cool. What you guys have built is more or less, the eBay for token assets. So at least the end goal of where it goes is like you can specify any sort of layout that makes sense for the asset that you're talking about. So we're about to hear about attention rewards from Al, but you can make a different kind of layout for your profit sharing token page on Verto. Depending on what the kind of asset is. And so in this case, you might want to show graphs of how much attention is actually going to an asset and that kind of thing. And all of that is possible within the new Verto version. And it looks so cool. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
Congratulations, Tate. All right, Al, can you tell us a little bit about KOII? Thanks.
Hi, folks.
Yep.
I'm Al. I'll pull up a quick presentation here and I can tell you guys a bit about what we've been working on. Tate, very excited to see the new UI there. I think the use case that Sam just mentioned about being able to track NFTs is fascinating. To give you guys a little bit of insight about KOII, I'll show you the prototype that we're currently using that's kind of the main flagship product. This is our attention tracking leaderboard. So basically what's happening here is each of these NFTs has been uploaded by an end user, and we are actually actively tracking the number of eyeballs that it gets each day. Every single day, we also release a certain number of KOII tokens, and they go out to the people whose content gets the most eyeballs. So we're getting about probably 50 to 100 submissions a day right now. Some of them are very cute. Like this one's from one of our developers, Soma, him and his girlfriend. And then just, basically anything that you want to put on the PermaWeb. Makes it really, really easy to interact with all of these systems. Our goal is actually to build kind of a framework that will allow us to build decentralized web products, things like Facebook and Google eventually, at a very high scale. And the thing that we realized along the way is that actually, if you wanted to build a truly decentralized or peer-to-peer intranet, it kind of depends upon having a single framework for data and how the data fits together. And so that's why we initially kind of gravitated towards this NFT idea, and we started to combine that with this attention tracking, and then we realized that we'd created kind of a data model for a new intranet. You can post on a decentralized Twitter, and you can get attention rewards every time somebody looks at your content. This might sound crazy, but there's a lot of interesting use cases here. The other thing that we did with KOII is that we also built a node network that is now working towards being able to do generalized kind of task structures. So things like what Tate mentioned with the trading posts, or what many other Arweave projects do, where they have kind of a service node that has to go and then update the Arweave state. We've created kind of a generalized framework for that. If you're curious about KOII at all, I'd encourage you to come to our website, KOII.network, and check out the resources tab here. We've worked really hard over the last couple of weeks to put together a lot of really straightforward documents in here, because as we've had our user base growing, we've realized that explaining things is actually really important and quite complicated. There's a document in here called Gradual Consensus, which it's a bit confusing. We're working on making it simpler. But effectively what this is a generalized format for making smart contracts that can execute on just about any kind of task on the PermaWeb. This is really exciting because if you look at what blockchain has been traditionally, there is kind of a limitation to how blockchains work. And the main limitation to a blockchain is that it is like this chain of blocks. So this whole concept of a blockchain came from Bitcoin, and it came from trying to be able to create decentralized currencies. And when people started building things like Ethereum or Cardano or any of these other ones, they basically copied that same concept, and they didn't try to remix it too much. The thing that's cool, though, is that a blockchain typically is made up of this permanent storage and social consensus. And so what Sam and the Arweave guys have done is really quite revolutionary, because they've fixed the permanent storage problem. We just, as a group now, anybody who's building decentralized products, we don't have to worry about that part anymore. So what we're really excited about is this social consensus aspect, like being able to just take all of this permanent storage and make it do all kinds of really useful and exciting things. They say Bitcoin's a state transition system. So you start with a state and then you go to another state. This is actually a screenshot from the Ethereum white paper. And that's really what they were trying to do, is to build this state transition machine. And Arweave is a great place to store those states. So that's what we're very excited about. I'll quickly show you as well, we have a new wallet out right now, which is basically designed to be an NFT wallet. So RConnect is a really amazing tool for tracking your tokens and things like that. We're a little bit more creative focused. So we wanted to create a companion app to help people post NFTs to our leaderboard. And so if you wanted to put your NFTs up on here, you can do that from our homepage. You can drag and drop a JSON file, do all that stuff, or you can set up your Finny wallet. And once you have the Finny wallet, you can actually drag and drop any file right into the wallet here. So I took a screenshot of Tate when he was talking a second ago, and I'm going to make that into an NFT now, and then I'm going to send it to him. So here we go. We'll say Tate's presentation. And I'm Alex Morris, and Tate giving a talk to the Foundry. And I guess we'll call this Tate, and maybe Verto, and maybe KOII, and Foundry. We'll put some tags in there. This is going to make them more discoverable later. So I'll confirm my registration here. It's going to cost me 1 KOII to register for the attention rewards, and then it's going to cost a little tiny bit of R. It's like less than 1/10 of a penny. Oh, and it looks like I don't have enough KOII. Maybe a bug in our wallet today. But the gist of this is you can use this wallet. We've got a faucet up as well right now that'll give you a little bit of R and a little bit of KOII. And you can go to our site, set up a wallet, and you can start uploading your own NFTs. The other thing that you can do right now is you can also make galleries out of your NFTs. So these will soon be able to be shared publicly. So you can share a page that other people can go look at. And when they look at your NFTs, you'll get a bunch of KOII tokens each day. And hopefully soon we'll be able to list these onto Verto and start buying and selling them and trading them, which is very exciting. So as a final thing, I want to show you guys something that I stayed up late last night working on. It's going to look a little creepy, but I'll explain afterwards. So this is it's a GIF that I stripped all the frames out of, and it's actually a flower blooming. We're stuck at frame 64 right now, and that's because out of the 226 frames that are here, the flower has only gotten enough attention to be able to unlock to this point. This is registered as an NFT on Arweave, and it's going to start tracking its attention as of today. We just deployed it last night. But what this means is that this NFT will appear differently depending on how much traffic it gets every day. It's completely dynamic like that. It'll be managed by our KOII nodes, and it's actually going to earn enough KOII tokens so that it can pay people to come and help maintain it over time. And these are the kind of assets that we're really excited about on Arweave, because you just can't do this on Ethereum. It would just be too expensive and it would take forever. So on that note, I will hand it back off to Sam. But thanks for having us here. And if you have questions about KOII or atomic NFTs or how to build decentralized products, always happy to help and very eager to hear what you're working on.
Yeah, thanks, Al. That's really. Sorry, the echo. Do you mind if I? Okay, I'm sorry, I had to mute you, Al. Yeah, that's incredible stuff. Like KOII, I think, is one of those projects that has so many different aspects to it. Nowadays, it's hard for people to grasp what's happening, and all of it is composable. That's what's so exciting. Like the attention rewards that you see there for the atomic NFTs, if I'm not mistaken, Al, you could actually run those attention rewards on any piece of content on the PermaWeb. So for example, if you're building like a decentralized Medium or something like, or a decentralized Twitter, you can make it so that people earn attention rewards relative to how much people like and engage with the content on your platform. And you can just plug this in and it basically works out the box without you having to do anything. And that subsequently, incentivizes your users to come and use your platform because now they have a method of monetization. that you just wouldn't, normally have in the Web 2 world. I think that's going to be super, super powerful. As soon as we get those first use cases out there and people see it in practice, it's going to really take off.
Yeah,
But yeah.
we're very excited to help.
Oh, Al, I'm sorry, I muted you, Al. I'll unmute you now. Sorry, you were saying.
No, I was going to say we're very excited to try and help people fund their own projects as well. We're fairly well funded now for the next few years. So our next step of this is to take all this composable code that we have, get it into your hands as founders, and help you build your applications. Our real goal here is that if you build something that's exciting for people, the excitement alone should pay for all of your hosting costs, which fingers crossed, but we're here to help if you have any questions. Thanks, Sam.
That's very cool. Yeah, thank you. And Al and I were just talking before the presentations today. And so in order to build the attention tracking tool that they have for KOII, they also needed to solve a huge amount of, well, they needed to make it basically, they needed to make arbitrarily scalable web service-like smart contracts, which is not something that I've ever seen anyone address before. And it looks like their model is complete and like generalizable. And so you can use it when you build your PermaWeb apps, and it allows you to essentially have like back-end compute and all the rest of it you will need. In a really easy and real-time way. It's like a whole different realm of decentralized applications that just absolutely wasn't possible before. Okay, so thank you very much, guys, for presenting your projects. Maybe we'll all just sort of, if I can move my, we get together in the middle and have a conversation about like what this process looked like for you getting started for like 5 minutes or so, and then we'll jump out to the discussion room. And Seb, maybe you want to come along as well. I don't know. So I guess my first question is, like, all of you guys, you must have gone through the process at some point of being like, okay, I'm working a semi-reasonable job, or in the case of Tate, I think you were still in education. But at some point, you've got to go through the process of being like, okay, I'm going to quit doing this now, and I'm going to take the leap, and I'm going to build a startup, and in this case, like a startup community for myself and those around me, like a founding team. How did that go? Like, what were your thought patterns? What do you think now, looking back on that? Yeah, you just say.
Who's up first? I guess I can go. The tipping point for us was we had a consulting project that I was doing part-time. So I was just trying to make some extra bucks on the side so I could possibly like hire some developers, work on this kind of dream project that we had. And we got to the point where one of our side projects looked like it might be able to become a startup, and it didn't end up becoming a startup, but we spent a lot of time building out the code, and that was the original prototype that we started pitching. We actually found the Basecamp accelerator from LR Ventures on a Twitter forum and pitched them kind of over a video call. And that gave us kind of like the confidence that somebody else out there might really understand what we're doing. And from there, it's just all conversations. And I think a bunch of people basically convinced us to work on it full time, which was the tricky part. But yeah, it was definitely a little bit scary at first. Not having anybody to kind of pay you or help you pay your bills is a terrifying feeling at first. It helps to get a bit of funding if you can.
Yeah, no joke. Phil.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest parts for me, and it's still difficult, is just kind of being a more public face on the internet. That was something where my previous job, I wasn't as vocal, in front of other people. I just kind of did my job, and for me at least, kind of that social piece was a big change. On top of just jumping into being an entrepreneur in a really new and exciting field, and of course it wasn't like an overnight decision, right? I really got comfortable with Arweave, and I think, Sam, when your team started doing the events like this, right, and really started to inspire other people to build their apps and use this new profit-sharing community model, I think all of those things, for me, on top of I was ready to leave my job, right? I just wanted to try something else. That's what kind of made the perfect storm for me to jump into all this, and it's been very rewarding.
Yeah, it's been incredible. Like just being on the sidelines, watching you guys grow as well. Actually, I could say that of all of you, and in fact, all of the projects in the ecosystem. But certainly, just watching the journeys is super cool.
Yeah, so as Sam kind of mentioned, I think that I have a relatively different background than everyone else here. But, you know, it started out during, you know, I really dove into Arweave and buried my head in the sand during the pandemic. And because I was, you know, going through high school, I had a lot of extra time that I wasn't used to having. And so that's kind of, you know, during the pandemic, that's what I was spending my time on. And then when school came back in session, it was like, oh, well, you know, this is a lot more enjoyable than that. Like I've kind of found my passion here, you know? And so, you know, I wouldn't consider myself the best student, but I was a pretty good student, right? Like I've grown up with the intention of going off to college and getting it, furthering my education that way. 13 years of my life I've spent preparing for that. But just over the past 12 months, you know, my life has really kind of changed. And I think the path has really kind of been changed because, you know, it became so practical and logical for me to be pursuing Verto and you know, everything that we're working on in this ecosystem full time. I remember having a conversation with you, Sam, and, you know, I was very much in my way of like, man, like, how am I going to manage this with school? And this is what I kind of want to do, but I'm not really sure, like, you know, and Sam just kind of looked at me and he was like, why? Like, you can totally do this. You're a funded project now. Like that, this path can be an option for you. It doesn't just have to be, you know, you worrying about balancing school and you know, and Verto. And so it kind of really planted the seed, and you know, I've just really continued going down the rabbit hole, and now I've managed to graduate high school. Fortunately, my grades did tank a little bit because of the busyness of this type of work. But I don't regret it at all, and I'm happy to say that, you know, now I'm full time in this ecosystem, and I'm able to follow my passion. You know, working alongside a bunch of incredible people. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm
The story
here. Yeah.
I would just add one thing to that, which is if you are in a similar position, it's worth noting, Tate, you guys had like $500,000 in the bank at this point, I think. So,
Yes.
So the theory was,
Yes.
whatever else happened, you could always go back to going to college. I please don't take this as a
Sorry.
endorsement that everyone should just go drop out of high school. That's not what we're saying. But
Yes.
that does bring us to the question of funding, which is like, it's important for every founder because it gives you the ability to, you know, work on this thing full time and build a team around you, and all the rest is money is essentially the enabler in society, right? And you guys have all raised like millions of dollars now to back your project. So what does the future look like? What are you most excited about? Maybe we'll start with like Phil this time.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely excited to have, you know, our native apps out, right? Like that was, you know, one of our initial visions was to have native applications that connected to Arweave and synced all your data, right? I'm also excited for some of the building that's been happening by other teams with ArDrive, and just some of like the use cases that we've been seeing. People uploading game assets, you know, artificially intelligence generated artwork. I think that's the really cool part, is seeing the things that we never forecasted or expected. So yeah, like I'm looking forward to some of the new use cases that we're trying to enable. And yeah, we're in the process of just putting a whole new look, right? We've been slowly changing our brand. We're kind of culminating that with like a completely revamped look of our web app. So yeah, that's something else that I'm looking forward to, because ultimately ArDrive, it's a premium product, right? It's permanent storage is more expensive, right? You have to pay for permanence, and we feel that our apps have to really reflect that style as well. So yeah, new look and feel is also pretty exciting for me.
Awesome. Yeah. I wonder if those those AI generated assets, we could we could generate them in a KOII task and deploy them using ARFs, and then have them generate KOII revenue relative to attention, which can go fund the machine in the KOII task, which generates more art. You can kind of make it like recursive, and it would be tradable on Verto, no less.
There's definitely some linkages there, right? Like, it's just thinking about your content. I mean, everything could be an NFT. Everything placed in a drive could be an NFT in theory, right? And all benefit from the platform that you're building, Tate, and making it very easy to transfer the value of those NFTs, as well as the attention rewarding and the KOII platform that's being built of kind of rewarding the people who are uploading that content, right? So it's pretty, and those are kind of the use cases where it's like, man, I never saw those coming. Very excited to
and it's so easy as well to mint an atomic NFT. It costs literally zero extra, right? You just add a couple of tags to a transaction you're already going to send, and now suddenly the thing is an NFT. And as soon as you've got as soon as you've got that like compatible interface, now KOII works and Verto works, and like everything else in the ecosystem works with it as well. And suddenly you get like this insane level of composability. That's probably the thing I'm most excited about for the ecosystem going forward. It's like everyone builds these little components, and over time we're going to get this like combinatorial explosion of the number of things you can do on the network. But anyway, how about you, Al?
I was just going to add to the notion of composability. The thing that we're really stoked about now is we've gotten to the point where we've built all the base technology for KOII. So we've got all the nodes running, we've got the wallet, we've got all these different pieces. And the thing that we're going to hopefully spend the month of August on is just publishing a whole bunch of templates and making them really easy to use. So the Finny wallet, which I showed you guys earlier, has the feature to be able to edit the code coming out. So you'll be able to, as you're creating an atomic NFT, just click a button and start editing the code live, adding in templates, tweaking the type, pulling in a template for a dynamic NFT, for example, and having it react to the amount of attention it gets. So we want to make this all a cookie cutter out of the box. And then we also are going to be announcing a hackathon grants fund, because we were very fortunate to raise a lot of money. So we'll hopefully be giving a little bit of funding as well to anybody who wants to build on top of this platform.
That's amazing. Very, very cool. And I guess all those atomic assets, and this is something I don't think most of the crypto industry has properly cottoned onto yet. Once you have like atomically associated assets with contracts, there's a whole bunch of benefits you get. Like you can just embed a piece of content somewhere on a web page, anywhere on the internet, and someone can work out like who owns that content. And that's something like you guys at Verto have been thinking a lot about. I know, Tate.
Yes. It's definitely, I don't know. My mind is kind of everywhere right now with the implications of everything that everyone is building. I definitely think that the composability of this ecosystem is something that I was excited about a year ago. Like we were just in the first fellowship, we were seeing, some collaboration happen in the very beginning, but now it's like every day there's been some sort of collaboration that's happened, and there are really, really cool things that are being built now because of the composability in this ecosystem. I would say that that's probably what I'm most excited about and still looking forward to seeing is what crazy things people come up with these Lego bricks. I think that's that's kind of where my mind has been lately. And I've also been thinking about, as shown with what Phil and Al are doing, Arweave makes it so easy to tokenize anything. So why not tokenize everything, right? Like,
right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a possible avenue to think about now, and now it's actually realistic and it makes sense. So it's lots of thoughts, but I don't know. I just if anyone in the ecosystem has an idea or wants to collaborate on anything, our team is here to help. We just want to make it as easy as possible for people to come into the ecosystem, get their feet planted on the ground, and build something they're really interested in, just like the rest of us. Yeah,
amazing. Thanks, Tate, and thanks Al and Phil This has been a great talk. We're hitting about 45 minutes now, so I think it makes sense if we kind of open this up. We go to the discussion area. If you've never used GatherTown before, don't worry. Basically, just turn on your mic and your video if you want to, and just walk outside. And when you get close to people, you see there's screens, and you can just talk, just like it's a physical space. Thank you again, guys, for coming. It's really, really awesome to talk to you. And I've just been like so, I don't know. It's just so fun to watch your project succeed like this. It's really, really, really cool. So thanks for taking the time. Yeah, and I hope we get to speak to you later in the program as well. All right, let's go outside. See you, everyone.